In this video, I'll show you how I ran a constant power source to the back of my 4Runner to power my refrigerator, but also to have the option to power other devices. As you likely already know, the 12-volt cigarette lighter plug and the AC plug that Toyota provide from the factory, they don't operate when the engine is off or when the car is not in accessory mode. I wanted to be able to control the power to the rear of the vehicle without having to have the engine running. I also wanted to have protection from any accidental excessive discharge of my battery. Now, even though my fridge has a low voltage disconnect, that might not always be the case for other devices I want to power from this setup. So to make sure that I'm as protected as much as possible, I wired this all to my Switch Pro, as it has low voltage disconnect capabilities as well. So by wiring the constant power source to my Switch Pro, I'll also be able to control when the power into the back is on or off, either through the touchpad on my dash or on my phone using the Switch Pro app. I'll detail the steps I took to run the dedicated wires from the engine bay through the firewall, down the passenger side, all the way to the back hatch. I'll show you which accessory panel I used and where I mounted it. I posted all the parts that I used to complete this job in the description below. To run the wires, I had to pull some interior panels, so as a bonus, I'll show you how I was able to score a little bit of extra storage space. I may just post a future video on that topic alone. So if any of this is of interest to you, here's the video. I purchased these Mole panels from yotamafia.com. Now this is the FinFab brand that they sell. What's cool about these is that they have a cutout here for the Blue Sea accessory panel. Now there's two different models of Blue Sea accessory panels that'll fit into this cavity here. The one I purchased has the mini voltmeter. There is a second one that has another set of USB plugs, but I decided to go with this one. Now, since I have this Mole panel with this cutout, of course I'm going to be making use of that. If you don't have this, you don't have this particular brand of Mole panel, and you're looking for a place maybe to attach some sort of accessory panel. I guess I know some other folks, depending on whether they have the subwoofer, the factory subwoofer or not, that they've created some sort of a way to mount it to in here. I've seen others who have installed maybe a smaller version of an accessory panel under the factory plugs. So in addition to the Blue Sea accessory panel, I also ordered from Amazon this 25-foot roll of 10-gauge wire that I'll be running from the engine compartment through the firewall, down the passenger side kick panel, all the way to the back here. So that's going to be my first step. So here I am in the engine bay. I have my wire here that I'm going to be running through. Now, there are two grommets here. I got this big one here, and then this smaller one closer to the fender, and that is the one we're going to be running this wire through. In order to get access to that grommet, I'm going to come in here on the passenger side, and I know it's going to be kind of hard to see, but I'll be able to pop down this cover here and move that out of the way. Get my fingers under here and pop up these tabs. Trying to be as gentle as possible. I want to show you where I'm going into that grommet from the engine bay through the firewall. Then I'll circle around to the passenger seat and show you where that's coming in from into the cabin. I know it's kind of hard to see. The next step is just to fish the wire through the existing clamps along the running boards. So here I'm doing it in the front seat and through the B pillar and then down the length of the back seat. So the next step is I want to remove this little shelf here, and I've watched some videos of folks removing this and seen some guys do it in a brute force way where they break off the tabs that are held on by 2 screws here. I'm going to try to avoid doing that, so I'm going to pry up here with a panel removal tool, and then once I get enough room, I'm going to be using this flexible bit on my drill to try to get in there and back these things out. So wish me luck. Well, I was able to get it out that way. It wasn't the easiest, and took a little damage on the hands, but hey, I only have to do that one time. And I was able to take this off without breaking these, so I guess that's a win. Since I had to pop the passenger side off to run the wire, I thought, hey, I might as well pop off the driver's side as well. And again, this came off without breaking the tabs. You can see there's quite a bit of storage accessible now. I'm sure I'll figure out a way to utilize that. So I'm back in the back seat, and I'll show you how I'm going to be running this wire to the hatch. So I removed the weather stripping. It just peels off here, and let me show you from the back hatch. You can see in there, hopefully you can see that. You should be able to see some daylight now. And I'm going to be running the wire through that daylight and getting it into this wheel well area. So back in the back seat, so I've got the wire tucked in there, not interfering with anything. So now what I'm gonna do is button up the inside here, put the kick plates back in, get everything put back in place before I finish up on the back. As you can see, I fished the wire up from the wheel well area up behind the speaker plate. Now I'm crimping down the connectors and getting the heat shrinks on. The last step in the back is to get the wires connected to the Blue Sea accessory panel. and then get it installed in its final space. With everything wrapped up inside the vehicle, now I focus on the engine bay and getting the wires attached to the existing wire loom along the firewall. The final step is to get the wires connected to the Switch Pro, get the butt connectors heat shrinked, and everything looking nice. So here's the finished engine bay wiring. You can see that it's coming from the passenger side through that grommet. It's tied up along the back of the firewall, and it is connected to my Switch Pro. I'm going to flip on the toggle, and we'll see that we have power and that the voltmeter is reading the battery current voltage. Well, there you have it. I hope you found this information useful. If you have any ideas on what I could have done differently or better, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, consider subscribing to my channel, as that will incentivize me to create additional content. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.